Today's show is sponsored by the Montford Point Marines, calling all branches. If you are a veteran or an active duty member of any branch of the service of the U.S. Armed Forces, regardless of race, creed, or natural origin, please join the Montford Point Marine Association Chapter 47 in Charleston, South Carolina. You can contact them at the information listed here on the screen at president.chsmpapma@gmail.com. Send an email, join the group, and find out all you ever wanted to know about the Montford Point Marines. It's also sponsored by Clubhouse's Club I Inspire. It's where we speak to inspire, live to encourage, and want everyone to live their best life now. Every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern, Pastor Jeff Moffitt, myself, and many others come on there to have strong love talks about PTSD. And we'd like to have you join us there every Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Today's show here on Talk to Me, on this Face It Friday, let's face it, we're going to be talking to the man of the hour, Coach Jorge. He is a fellow Marine veteran, a father, a speaker, an author, an online coach creator, a life empowerment coach. What do you do? Or shall I say, what would you do if you were told you were never going to amount to anything? And you were also voted least likely to succeed in high school. Well, Coach Jorge apparently didn't get the memo because over the past 22 years, he's been studying personal development. He holds a certification in several areas such as fitness coaching, nutrition coach, transition specialist, parenting, black belt in martial arts, a culinary arts degrees, and much more. Somehow, he didn't listen to those people because guess what? He is still standing in the day. We're going to have a talk here on Talk to Me on this Face It Friday that when you reach adversity, what do? Success is standing, so you stand. Coach Jorge, welcome to the show. Welcome to Talk to Me. As on this Face It Friday, we face the fact that your past does not equal your future, and what people say about you ain't none of your business. How you doing today?
Fantastic, Brenda. Thanks for having me. So honored to be here.
I was so excited to have you come on the show as this is November, and November for me is all about veterans. We had our Veterans Day, our Marine Corps birthday, and I've just been celebrating veterans all month, and I'm excited to celebrate you and your awesomeness as you have founded JV Coaching and Consulting. Make sure I get this correct. And
Right.
I'm I want to know because your book, and we're going to show this here. I want to show this here on here, but I want people to really see it. So let me put up the screenshot of this here. Your book, Success is Standing, Just Get Back Up, was an interesting read for me because it was done like an interview style and it had several test things in there. I just really enjoyed hearing about your journey. So, based on chapters in your book, I have my questions for you today. And I wanted to know, you talk about knowing when you fail. When did you know you had failed?
Well, that's the more of an achiever you are, the harder it is for you to see that until it is like literally the last thing that you notice. Because you're
Mm-hmm.
an achiever, you put everything, your all in every aspect of your life into what you're doing. The moment that you find out when you fell is the moment when you see everything, absolutely everything falling apart or moving away from you. And it's a very lonely place.
I saw that you had lost your marriage, your finances, several businesses. What made you feel like that you could bounce back from all of that loss?
I had to find my self-worth again because of all the traumas. I had a huge mental block and I couldn't see past my hand in front of me. It wasn't until another junior Marine came up to me, found where I was, and asked me for some advice in many different areas of his life. And at first I didn't know who the hell am I, is what I said. Who am I to tell you, give you advice? All of this stuff just happened to me. But I swallowed my pride and I started opening those drawers in my mind that were blocked. I couldn't even see them before until he
Mm-hmm.
asked me questions. Nobody ever asked me questions while everything was down. They only cared about one thing, themselves. Nobody cared
Hmm.
about what happened to me. So
And when you found yourself as a young father, on the brink of divorce and stuff, how were you able to find your self worth again?
I had to take a step back, and we call it fighter's withdrawal, right? We
Hmm.
never turn around and run. We just take a step back so we can see everything in front of us. And you have to take time. Like for me, I reconnected myself with God, my Lord and Savior, and as
Hmm.
well, I started meditating and really thinking back on all of the teachings that I have started back when 22 plus years ago. So
Hmm.
when I started remembering all of those teachings and all those things that I already know how to do, but because of all the traumas, it was a block. I went back and I started prayer again. I connected with God every single day, more often than I can remember, almost all day, every day in meditation and prayer, really trying to understand and break everything down and separate the logic from the emotion and everything that happened so that
Hmm.
I can really assess things logically without the emotion in it and then take the step forward.
You know, as you were on this journey, was your faith as important before you lost everything, or was that something you acquired after the loss?
I've always had faith.
Mhm.
I've always been one that prays in the morning, pray before I go to sleep, and I pray when I have a meal in front of me because I know this is not the first time I've fallen. This is just the biggest fall that I've had. So
Okay.
many times I've fallen in the past, and I've always remembered He's always looking over me. He's always watching me. He's always protecting me and guiding me. Everything that I go through, I'm going through because He knows that I can make it to the other side, no matter how bad it is. And it's the same for everybody else.
I know you had a partnership that you lost millions, friendships, everything. How were you able to confront all those issues when it seemed to be the domino effect, as it were, for your losses to get up to a place to where you felt like success is standing?
Once you realize, and that's a very good question, once you realize your self-worth again and you know what you bring to the table and you know the things, then not just the knowledge that you have, but the wisdom, you are the one that sets the boundaries for yourself. You are what you allow. If you allow people or things to bother you or to, you know, shoot you down or knock you down, then that's exactly what's going to happen. But once you really find your self-worth, you know exactly who you are, what you do, what you stand for, what you don't stand for, and how you're willing to proceed moving forward. And once that is set, having the communications with the people that were involved, that's the next step. You confronting the issues, starting to once you realize all that. That's why it's chapter 2 in my book, not chapter 3.
Hmm.
Before you can confront your issues, you need to realize your self-worth because if you don't do that first, the conversations, they're just going to walk all over you.
When you got to a place of actually confronting your issues, what would you say was the biggest issue you had to confront?
The other people that, like myself, lost what they had invested in. They wanted to know nothing about what was going on except for what they wanted. They didn't care that I was homeless. They didn't care that I was donating plasma just to keep the phone alive so that nobody thought that I was running away
Hmm.
and to feed myself and looking for odd end jobs. They didn't care about all of that. They didn't care that I was all the issues.
Right.
It's specified in my book.
And I saw that. And I guess the question then was, when you get to that place where you find yourself homeless, as you say in there, living in your car, donating plasma, etc., where do you go inside yourself that allowed you to understand that success is standing? Because, many people have less than what you had happen to you and fold like a cheap suit. But somehow you found the emotional fortitude to keep moving forward.
You kind of said it right there, the emotional fortitude. I had to learn how to separate my emotion from logic so that I can react properly, accordingly, and realize that, hey, look, just because this happened to me, it doesn't define who I am in the future. It's just something that happened from the past. Now we're in the present. And if I keep
Mhm.
thinking about the past, then I can never fix the stuff in the present or plan the future. So I needed to control my emotions. In order to
Mhm.
do so, you really have to take the time and space to really meditate and think and pray on everything that's happening so that you can separate the two.
Now, for our viewers and those that will listen maybe on the replays, this is Face It Friday, and I want some of the people. I want them to understand. As I was reading your book, I understood that a lot of the stuff that happened didn't happen before you had many of the successes that you had. It had while you were in the height of success. You were already a successful coach. You were already a father. You were already uh, having online courses. Things were going on in your life that were very positive, and then it's as if the bottom fell out, and then you had to dig your way back to the top. What was your thought when you got back to a place of, okay, I'm finally finding my place? I stood, I'm standing. Was there ever a point when you looked back and go, I see where I fell. Now I know what I can do to avoid that again?
Absolutely. There's always a point where you can look back, analyze what had already happened without the emotion behind it. And that's why I said it's very important to do that one step to separate the emotion from logic. The more you can control your emotions, the better you can separate the two, and you can assess the things that happened in the past so that you can plan to avoid those pitfalls in the future. But you always got to leave room for variables. Anything that's not within your control is a variable, and you need
Mhm.
to account for all of those.
Now, what would you say to a viewer that's listening on the replay or someone watching right now that says, but you don't understand, Coach Jorge, I've hit rock bottom. I've lost it all. Family, cars, money. I just can't. What would your advice to them be?
Well, you absolutely can. The fact is that you're thinking about the bad things that happen to you, but you're not focusing on the blessings that you have. It's very important to realize you're still alive. There's still fight in you. All you need to do is regroup. And to
Mm.
regroup, you just need to step back, even create distance from you and everybody around you, even the good ones, so that you can reassess yourself completely. Find out who your allies are, find out who your antagonists are, and create distance. Even family can be the antagonist. I lost some family and trust and things like that because I had family that also invested.
Hmm.
Although there's a separation, there's a distance, there's a tear in the rift in the connection with that family member, and only time will fix that. Continue
And
doing what you have planned.
as you have begun to now go back into coaching and having your business come back online, what would you say would be your greatest lessons you learned from what caused you to fall in the first place?
You know deep down in your gut when something is right or something is wrong, when something you need more information or you're feeling pressured to make a decision. You don't need to be pressured to make a decision at all. So no matter who it is, all right, someone's pressuring you to make a decision, you say, thank you very much for your input. I'll get
Hmm.
back to you on that tomorrow, or however long you need to really think about the direction, the options, the outcomes, and because you need to plan for all the variables. You can't make a decision that quickly and have a solid understanding of what may or may not happen in the future. Yes, action is key, but if you don't, plan, then it's all going to fall under. It's all going to the floor underneath you is going to fall. It's going to open up.
In your chapter that talks about confronting the issues, you say it's important to know why did you fall. Why do you think it's important to know why? Because I think in the midst of when we have a breakdown or a loss of finances, a loss of a relationship, you're not thinking how I got there. You're just thinking about the pain that you're in because you ended up there.
Exactly. And then this is another reason why I believe that's chapter 4 off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
It's chapter 4 for a reason. The processes have to happen prior to. You can only think of the why did it happen after you've separated the emotion from the logic. Once you separate the emotion from the logic, you'll understand exactly why you fell. What were the key factors in that demise?
We're going to take a break right here for one of our sponsors. Today's show is also sponsored by the Daddy Daughter Dynamic, The Path to Healing. It is a book where 13 women share their stories of how they each traveled the road to forgiveness, healing, self awareness, and most importantly, self love. That book is available on Amazon, and as of October 28, 2022, it was a #1 release on Amazon and a bestseller. And we'd like to again congratulate all the Power 13 for sharing their amazing stories of triumph, overcoming, and living their best lives as they navigate the daddy daughter dynamic, the path to healing. Be sure to get your copy on Amazon today. Coach, as a Marine veteran, I wonder how important was your military training in your ability to stand successfully?
Well, there's many acronyms that we use in the military, and just to caveat off of what we had just spoken about, perfect planning prevents piss poor performance.
I remember that
We know
one.
that one all too well. There is no perfect plan. The perfect
Mhm.
plan includes the variables. But if you're just listening to those words and you're not really dissecting what that phrase means, then you're never going to put in those variables. A perfect plan includes all the variables that may or may not happen and a solution for them.
Once you got to a place of understanding that you could remove your emotions from, separate your emotions and the logic, what goals did you initially set for yourself so that you could stand successfully in the future?
The only thing that I was able to do at that point, because I'd lost everything, credit was horrible financially, everything was ruined, um, relationship wise, everything was shambles, emotion wise, I had just regained my emotions back and remembered all of the wisdom that I'd gained over the years. I
Mhm.
had to first reestablish my financial future. I need to reestablish that because of all those losses. I had to reset. I had to push that reset button, and in order to do that, and so that I can move forward with everything else, because I'm not the only one that lost, and I have a moral obligation to make sure everybody that was hurt by the situation gets taken care of. But in order to do that, I need to reset the finance button. I need to plan something for the future, and I need to build something on my own without anybody getting in my way of my work ethics and my beliefs and my structures and how I want and need everything to go.
Through this process of learning that success is standing, what is an ideal that you strongly believe in now that you're on the other side of this?
There is always a better tomorrow. Despite whatever you're going through, there's a reason for it. We're put on this earth to make it better, to help our neighbor. Our neighbor is the person that is not you, the person that is not in that mirror. That's our neighbor. And we're put on here to make their lives better. Of course, without sacrificing your own, in a sense. As a defender, we always put ourselves in front of the bullet, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's a very important thing that you need to do. Uh, I digress. I'll go on forever and forever. So
That's okay. That's all right. We're having a conversation, so that's perfectly all right. Tell me, what is one of the biggest lessons you learned from your fall before you got back up?
one of the lessons I learned before my fall, before I got back up from my fall,
Mm-hmm.
I would say the biggest one is trust your instincts, not the words
Okay.
that other people tell you or try to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Trust your instincts.
As you were in the midst of accomplishing all the things prior to getting to your place of loss, and I saw on the book where it said you were uh, voted most least likely to succeed. You've gone through the fire, and now you're coming out on the other side. What are your thoughts about that lack of confidence vote in you at that young age when you sit where you are right now today?
It was a very opinionated vote. just based on what they see externally. No one had a conversation with me. No one sat
Mm-hmm.
me down, and I'm interviewing you to find out if you're most likely to succeed or least likely. Nobody said that. It's just a high
Mm-hmm.
school book. It's
Mm-hmm.
the general population looking from the outside in, making an opinionated judgment call. But those things hurt,
Yeah.
and they cause people to build walls, to create defenses, and to lash out and attack. I thank goodness, thank God that I'd already started working on personal development and self improvement, or else I might have, I don't know, I might not have been where I was mentally at the time where I was like, all right, I'm going to show you. I might not have been
Mm-hmm.
there. I might
Yeah.
have, but I might not. I don't know because I was blessed to be in the position that I was at.
How about with all the things that have happened and the success of your book, your coaching, and everything? What would you say has been your greatest accomplishment so far?
Oh, that's an easy one. Hands down, the the ability to help people succeed in the areas that they need improvement. That's the most fulfilling thing in the world for me. To help people overcome their hurdles and avoid pitfalls. It's the most rewarding thing.
So, in your working that you do today, do you mainly work with men, women, or do you work B2B, that's business to business, group coaching, individual coaching? How do you do this?
I have the ability to do all of the above. And
Okay.
if there's a connection, I will take on the client. But my ideal client are men between the ages of 30 and 40, male entrepreneurs, that have tasted this thing of defeat like I have. And for some reason, they're also having a block and they don't understand why. Those are my ideal clients. But of course, everybody has these issues. And I do
Mm-hmm.
business to business, one on one, group coaching. I also do public speaking, things like that. Depends on which package you'd like to get.
And I placed in the banner right down there your website, which is jvcoachingandconsulting.com. That is how you could get in touch with Coach Jorge. And it's also in the description box on the YouTube channel when you go there. Coach, with all of the things that have happened, if there was only one piece of advice you can get someone that felt like they're falling and they can't get up, what would that piece of advice be?
Breathe.
Breathe. Why breathe?
For the simple fact that breathing air is going to help ignite the things in your body that you need to heal. The oxygen that you intake and the air that you exhale helps your body deliver oxygen throughout your body. It, it
Mm-hmm.
it heals your body. It's not just the water that we drink, healing water, it's also the breath of life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a breath of life for that reason. I've been doing a lot of lately studying and research on breath work. And that is the biggest advice that I would give. Learn to take proper breaths and proper exhales. Breathe. You'll make it out.
With all that you're doing to help the young men that are entrepreneurs that may have fallen and find it hard to stand at this point, how would you say what you do is helping you live your best life now?
By helping others, it's helping myself as well. Because the more that I help them, I'm also helping myself. It's just me from 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I help someone else out, it helps further anchor in what I already have anchored and helps solidify what I have planned for the future.
Well, Coach, I'm so glad that you decided to stop by on Face It Friday because Face It, everyone needs someone to help them when they are in a place that they're not sure what to do. And your book, Success is Standing, Just Get Back Up, is an interesting read. It's in an interview fashion. You even have some case studies in the back, and I really enjoyed it. It is available on Amazon. So if you'd like to tap in to Coach Jorge, and find out what it is he does. You know the drill. If you've watched the show before, you know to tap in. You have to, number one, change your mindset and understand that you can get back up, that success is in the standing. Then you would announce to the world that you're ready to stand on your own 2 feet and take all the necessary actions necessary to get back up. And you're going to get some accountability by working with Coach Jorge so that he can help get you on the right path. Then you're going to prepare by gathering whatever tools you need, setting aside time so that you can do the exercises that he outlines for you to help you get back up and start standing. Then you're going to imagine what your life would be like if you actually let go of the things that were holding you back, release all those limiting beliefs, and begin to stand on your own 2 feet. And then finally, you're going to nurture all of those thoughts so that you can tap in to live your best life now. Coach Jorge, do you have any final thoughts for today?
You said it perfectly. Once you gather all of your tools, knowledge and wisdom is also a tool. Then you can start planning the process of getting back up. And you can get back up, and you will get back up. Breathe and fight falling forward.
Well, thank you for joining me here on Face It Friday. Face It, we all can use a coach. And when someone has gone through something and they can share their wisdom, that's always a blessing because you can learn from their mistakes and their successes. Remember, the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. Choose wisely. Be blessed, everyone.